Fort Pierce is known for its stunning sunrises. At the same time, at the Fort Pierce Marina nearby, the day begins. You might even see some manatees. On Saturdays, the highly popular downtown Fort Pierce Farmers Market, featuring a wide variety of vendors, opens at 8 a.m. in Marina Square. Much of the Sunshine State is beautiful, featuring sun-washed condos, sandy beaches, and plenty of leisure activities. But we have, unfortunately, another side as well. State Road A1A through Daytona Beach is a lot more interesting than, say, Interstate 95, and you're unlikely to suffer a major traffic jam on this road. I-95, of course, is known for traffic jams. And you just might run across a wonderful canopy to drive through if you take the back roads. This is also on State Road A1A through Manalapan. I shot the next 4 photos and videos when no hurricane was threatening. The final video shows a strong winter storm that occurred after the hurricane season ended. Sugarcane fields are burned before being harvested. Sometimes, even residents of high-priced communities can see the smoke from those cane field fires. And, once in a while, the people who live closest to those fires stage protests against them.
The Stop the Burn, Go Green campaign has been advocating over the last 6+ years of a different alternative. We have been called everything but the child of God. Most recently, we have been called discontent with outside help. Well, when it comes to the pre-harvest sugarcane burning in the glades, I am a discontent.
I'm a discontent.
Guess what? I'm in good company.
Yes, you are.
Here is a vintage fire engine in Belglade, probably from the 1940s or 50s. Today, we have much better equipment to fight fires, but sometimes even that can't prevent a total loss. I have no idea what caused this. You never know what you'll see in Florida, including a cell phone user walking down the middle of the road or a mobile protester. This is a bust, for want of a better term, of Gloria Gonzalez, one of our thong bikini hot dog vendors from the 1990s. Mud bogging is popular and, sometimes, wild. Once in a while, even I get to have a little fun. Corn eating contests are popular throughout the state.
Get lively.
And what are road signs without, in this case, a total of 16 bullet holes? Even kids get into the act in rodeos. What can I say? And why do some cowboys pray before their ride? Because of this, and this, and especially this.
Go on, Kevin! Look out, boy! Somebody's gonna get run over.
Even the bulls like to watch the action. Florida's cattle industry began in 1521 with the arrival of Juan Ponce de Leon near St. Augustine, a treat for a future hamburger patty on a south central Florida farm, which also features a variety of poultry. On this huge cattle ranch on the northwest side of Lake Okeechobee, it's time to give the cattle their medication. Time is about 7:30 a.m. with temperature in the low 50s. Note the steam rising above these cattle. After this, each cow, calf, and bull receives several medications to protect them from insects and various diseases in the pasture. Eventually, the cows will be auctioned off and then put into a trailer to their final destination, wherever it is. My tent is on the right at St. Augustine Beach State Park. At Roland Martin's Marina, I had a peeping Tom iguana. The accommodations were much improved at Crane's Beach House, especially that plush bathrobe. I thought the fly paper added a nice touch in this rural cabin. The historic Seminole Inn in Indiantown is definitely worth a visit if you're in that area. This was my favorite spot in Key West for many trips. I slept outside but had a private bathroom, as well as a pool and a small refrigerator. Best of all, no cost. Florida's original inhabitants were mammoths and other prehistoric creatures. Roseate spoonbills are returning to southwest Florida a few months after Ian ripped through there. Squadron of pelicans, my favorite bird, fly over Flagler Beach. Sunday morning breakfast, straight out of Lake Okeechobee. I'm not sure whether this is venomous, so I'm leaving it alone. If you get this close to a wasp, be very careful. These nurse sharks are enjoying an easy meal in Key West. This gator is waiting for an easy meal at a boat dock in far western Boynton Beach. Don't be fooled. Gators can run up to 35 miles an hour. Manatees move quickly for only one reason. And here is the reason. These bison on a ranch in south central Florida are beautiful, but adult bulls are very territorial, so do not approach. I wouldn't get too close to this either, but I had to shoot a photo. If your kids complain about what you fix for dinner, show them what these baby barn owls eat.
Another 2 or 3 weeks and they'll start flying. They grow incredibly rapidly. At this stage, the adults are kind of tired of them.
To enjoy nature, all you have to do is listen. Lionfish are an invasive species that feeds on native fish and breeds explosively. Fortunately, they are tasty. Lionfish ceviche left, tacos top, and nuggets. I'm coming into the dock in Key West with 2 fishermen carrying 205 pounds of stone crab claws. Here's a close-up. I even walked away with a free lobster.
Yeah, all these go to China right now.
I want one going to my kitchen.
What's that?
I want one going into my kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one for you.
This road needs serious repaving, and soon. This is a section of old US Highway 27. Drive at your own risk. Driving on old US 27, I came upon this carved gator, the mascot of the University of Florida. So why is it sporting a pendant with the Florida state symbol, a Seminole? I stayed here on various occasions at the Sunland Motel in Belglade back in the 1980s and 90s. I won't be doing that again. The road to Uncle Joe's Fish Camp in rural Moorhaven is tough on your car's suspension, but there is a pot at the end of the rainbow, the sunrise over Lake Okeechobee. Enjoy the sounds. If you want fancy, Uncle Joe's is not for you. But prices are cheap, and conversations with fellow guests are always interesting. These pinkish cabins were used by British airmen training during World War II. Joe bought them from the Army and had them hauled here after the war. Many old, abandoned buildings dot Florida's back roads. Many more no longer exist. Kennedy's grocery store in the Everglades agricultural area opened in 1942 and closed decades ago. Everglades Gatorland closed in the 1990s. The building was demolished in 2020. These barracks for sugarcane cutters were abandoned in the early 1990s when mechanized harvesting replaced the thousands of men flown in from the Caribbean each year, such as this one. Around 2016, during the sugarcane harvest, I decided to shave a few miles off my trip by taking a back road, so I ended up with 31 miles of this. Nature is certainly winning this battle. In the early 1920s, the muck soil in the glades was at the same level as the top of this post, but now 6 feet have disappeared. These houses nearby did not need stairs when they were built. This rabbit hunter is about to try his luck in the cane field behind him. The British plot is a section within the Oak Ridge Cemetery in Arcadia. The 23 airmen who died in Florida while training for World War II are buried here. The Clewiston Museum has an exhibit. One of the oldest graves in the historic Fort Drum Cemetery, north of Okeechobee, is this one, dating to 1900. The Prairie Creek Conservation Cemetery, near Gainesville, forbids embalming fluids and vaults. The deceased must be buried in a shroud or other biodegradable container. These two graves are in the Nombre de Dios Cemetery in St. Augustine. This is among the markers in the historic Captiva Cemetery that survived Hurricane Ian's storm surge. Evergreen Cemetery in West Palm Beach opened in 1916 for blacks only. Dr. Jefferson was the area's first black doctor. I don't remember where in Central Florida I shot this, but I love the dictionary. A simple grave in Pahokie's Pioneer Park Cemetery. Florida's deadliest hurricane struck on September 16th, 1928.
This is the spot inside the Port Mayaca Cemetery where 1,600 victims of the 1928 hurricane are buried.
Historic burial ledgers from the Port Mayaca Cemetery. The main building dated to the 1920s. The decor inside was eclectic. This was the Crunchy Fish Sandwich, $10.95. These are the photos I shot on September 12th, 2020, on a trip to Orlando. Well, the historical marker was still standing. The Seminoles are proud that they never signed a peace treaty with the U.S. Annual festivals keep alive their traditions. The Gifford Historical Museum and Cultural Center houses a wide variety of exhibits about this historic town. The building, a former church, sits on the site of the Dubose Cemetery. In Key West Cemetery, this section is devoted to the sailors who died as a result of the explosion of the USS Maine. Many of the graves are old. The stone dates to 1922. As a former restaurant reviewer, I enjoy dining in a variety of eateries, from basic to 5-star. Here are just a few. The Moon Hut on Florida's Space Coast serves a great Eggs Benedict. Aki Sushi and Steakhouse serves up all-you-can-eat sushi in a quiet, reserved atmosphere. High Tide Harry's serves up 1 pound each of king, Dungeness, and snow crabs, $159.99. Mangrove Mike's on Isla Morada, mile marker 82. When my family lived in Spain, we visited this castle in Bavaria. The print hangs in Chequers Old München, Munich, in Pompano Beach. The atmosphere and stuffed Wiener Schnitzel sandwich took me back. At Oceano in Lake Worth Beach, the Key West Snapper Ceviche. Sand on the Beach in Melbourne Beach sits directly on the Atlantic Ocean and provides great views and food, including this fried calamari. When you're cruising through Flagler Beach, stop at the Java Joint Beachside Grill for, if nothing else, great coffee. Where else but in South Florida can you watch a rooster get off a transit bus, wander around the parking lot, and then, 30 minutes later, eat 'em? I dined at Louie's Backyard on the Atlantic when I lived in Key West in the early 1970s. This sautéed grouper with rock shrimp is one reason why it's still here. Crackers Cafe is the best eatery in Indiantown. The Country Eggs Benedict is high in taste and cholesterol. Oh, leave your political correctness at home. Driving across the Bridge of Lions into St. Augustine, I have the Columbia Restaurant in mind. These scallops are baked, then topped with seasoned breadcrumbs and white wine. Key lime pie finishes my excellent meal. Prior to my meal, I ordered a pitcher of sangre de cava, a special version of sangria. I said I had lived in Spain. Fortunately, my hotel was nearby, so I parked my car and walked. This is at 4 times normal speed. Sometimes you just get lucky. This tiki bar overlooked a lake, and this town, Lake Placid, features many excellent murals, including the one at Toby's Clown School. Of course, sometimes your voyage takes you to places that are not as pretty as others. Nevertheless, they are always interesting. In 1991, serial killer Eileen Wuornos was arrested here at the Last Resort Bar in Port Orange. She was executed on October 9th, 2002. This is one of 2 caskets behind the Last Resort Bar. This is the t-shirt I bought. In Sun City, many residents drive golf carts to breakfast. Unfortunately, Florida too has its share of labor troubles. Here's something on my patio that I didn't have yesterday. Today is September 11th, the day after Hurricane Irma visited. It's about 7:15 a.m. Many beach crossovers are destroyed by hurricanes. This is the memorial in Belglade to the 3,000 who died in the 1928 hurricane. Note the panicked faces on the base. Dorothy and Robert Hazard are storm historians. Why are people buried here? Why were they not buried where they were out in Belglade?
Well, in Belglade, the land is very low there. So if they buried the bodies in Belglade area, the bodies would just pop up out of the ground. So they brought them to this area in West Palm Beach because this is higher ground and they could actually bury them here. And that's why they are buried at this spot. On September 28th, 2022, Hurricane Ian came ashore, along with a tremendous storm surge, in Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Island. The Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge on Sanibel suffered catastrophic damage to the mangroves and wildlife. A first responder told me he measured a height of 99 inches for the storm surge.
This is not the average parking lot. These vehicles are only a tiny fraction of the 70,000 that Copart, a company specializing in damaged and totaled vehicles, processed after Ian. This is Copart's Okeechobee facility, viewed from a helicopter I was in.
Quite a day here on Delano Beach. Now you know why this is an evacuation zone.
This is the same stretch of beach, videotaped from north to south in August 2024. This south central Florida farm has suffered from severe hurricanes since 2005. But the donkeys do not seem to care. I hate to tell you this, but not all beach sand in Florida is white. Throughout the Sunshine State, beach erosion is a year-round battle. Of course, the worst damage occurs during hurricanes, usually due to storm surge. As a result, many coastal areas look much like this one. I shot this August 4th, 2024 on Flagler Beach, with continual, extensive, long-lasting, and incredibly expensive renovations. Note the heavy equipment, materials, huge pipe, and the barge pumping sand to restore the beach. Note also how close State Road A1A is to this beach. In 2016, Hurricane Matthew washed out this road in many locations, all the way up and down the entire Flagler County coastline. Some people take advantage of the high surf that a storm, in this case Hurricane Lee, creates. Yes, Florida boasts a variety of pluses. Balmy weather most of the time, luxury buildings, proximity to beaches, and a wealth, pardon the pun, of recreational opportunities. But rarely does anyone in Florida live more than 40 or 50 miles away from poverty and homelessness. Even some expensive residential communities are much closer than that. The same holds true for prosperous downtown areas throughout the state. And the problems are only growing worse, despite many municipalities throughout Florida passing laws forbidding sleeping or camping on public property. Florida's growth sometimes encroaches on its history. For example, Boston Cemetery, established in Oviedo in 1927, sits between two modern residential communities near Orlando. A prominent black leader at that time, Prince Butler Boston, donated 5 acres of land to establish this burial ground because blacks had no official cemetery. After all, they could not be interred with whites in Oviedo's main cemetery. In fact, in the early 2020s, during the repaving of the entry road, 12 unmarked graves were discovered. The bodies were then exhumed and placed in the cemetery. It's nice to know that we still have places such as High Bridge Road, about 10 miles north of Ormond Beach. Here, you can drive for miles, leisurely, at 25 miles an hour, yet see few cars. In addition, the tree canopy provides an old Florida feel to the road, and frequent pull-offs allow you to stop and enjoy either the water views or the lush foliage. Take your camera, or, better yet, your video cam. Now, please relax and enjoy the sights and sounds of a cypress swamp. The paint job looks sort of nice. The contents, on the other hand. In Florida, many people enjoy expressing their political opinions. This video clip of I-95 is running at 20 times normal speed. In reality, we were moving quite slowly. Ah, now this is more my speed. Tearing down the past. Early on a dreary morning in January 2025, the city of Lake Worth Beach removed the 79-year-old water tower. Building for the future. The bridge I'm on will disappear in 2027. Replacing it will be the $112 million 4-lane Fort Pierce North Causeway Bridge. It will have bike lanes and a fixed span, so no more delays due to marine traffic.